Hello. When you're working on balloon decorations and creating designs, it's nice to be able to add something a little bit different rather than just more balloons. A bit of extra texture can often really switch the design up and make it more interesting. And obviously here at Amscan we have a really big range of party goods and stuff, that many of which can be included in your designs. But I'm going to use this today, which is something that's been in the range for quite a while, but has kind of slipped under the radar as far as I'm concerned. I've not really thought about it. It's a spray centerpiece weight. It's designed just literally to sit in the center of the table with a balloon bouquet attached to it. It does make a difference to a simple helium-filled balloon bouquet, but you can actually use it in different ways and make all sorts of designs something better if you look at it a little bit more carefully. What we've got is a weight in the bottom here, wrapped in foil, and a hanging point. But then out of the top we have some wired star sprays and some sort of metallic grass, I guess it is. And it's this bit here that we're going to be able to use. So the first thing you need to do is to separate the weight from the spray. So just pull back a bit, get your hands around the spray there, grab hold of the weight, twist it and pull. You're left with a balloon weight, which is absolutely great. You can use that elsewhere very easily. And then the spray out of the middle, it does have a little bit of glue around it which you can pick off. But then once you've cleaned it off a little bit, we can use that. You could lose it just as it is, so it's kind of quite dynamic in a spray kind of way. But if you get your thumbnail under the grass here and do that, you can just gently curve them, so you can create a softer and larger look. It spreads it out more and makes it feel more space, so that sort of increases the value of it anyway. So I'm just going to do a few, not too many of them, but just some to get a little bit of extra volume into it, like this. So just curl it with your thumbnail, and then the wire parts again you can curl, you can wrap around the pencil to get a spiral. If there's lots of things you can do, you can play with this to get different effects, but I'm just going to curve them outwards for now. And then once you've done that, we need to use it within the design. Now, at the time of filming, Valentine's Day is approaching, so I'm going to do a seasonal design for Valentine's Day with this. I'm going to use this balloon here. And before we do anything else, what I've done is to attach a bit of uninflated 260 to the top of the balloon, top of the heart there, with some stretchy balloon tape. You can do it after you've inflated the balloon, but quite honestly it's much easier and you get a much stronger bond if you do it when the balloon is flat, because you can really press it to make sure that it sticks well. And I'm going to inflate the balloon with air, so I'm going to create really a very, very simple balloon centerpiece delivery. Which we've done many times before in all sorts of different ways for different occasions. It's just two clusters of latex balloons. This is Sempertex Reflex Gold, 5 inches, inflated to 5 inches. And I'm going to take the weight part of the centerpiece spray, put it between two of the balloons, and just wrap them over to lock it into place, so that's nice and firmly attached there. This is Sempertex Metallic Red, also 5 inches, this time inflated to 4. And I'm going to take concentrate. I'm going to wrap this around the base of this first, because that will give you a much stronger attachment to the base. If you put the two clusters together and then try and attach your foil, yes, it works, but it can be quite a fiddle to get it tightly attached. But if you wrap your top cluster really well onto the base of the foil like that, first and then attach the two clusters together, you get a really strong join. So I'm going to take that neck there, pull it down through, back up again, wrap it round a couple of times to make sure it is secured. And there we have the base part of the design complete. And I'm just going to add this into it, but rather than just sort of stick it in, which you could do of course, we want to give it a little bit more character, make it a little bit more different, something that is going to make people look at it and realise that what you're doing is a little bit different, a bit better than what they might get elsewhere. So a reflex gold 5-inch, inflate it fully and then deflate it to around about 4 inches, something like that, so it's quite soft. And we're going to tie that quite close to the neck roll. So we've got the knot sort of 1/2 inch or so in, but no more than that. So we have a long neck piece showing. And then we're going to take this, we need a piece of 260. I'm going to take this, so squash this to push the air up into the neck, put the end of the spray into the tip of the balloon and then just push it all the way through and grab it at the other end of the balloon there with your other hand, and then use the 260 to bind around it nice and tight so that it all holds together, and tie that off. There we go, nice and firmly there. And that gives us something a little bit more unusual, a different take on a well-known party product, but it makes it into something else. The hanging point, the attachment point for your balloons is still there. You can remove that and cut it off if you don't want it, but you might want to attach a helium-filled bouquet to that point, and that makes it quite useful. So I'm going to leave it there. And then we're going to tie that onto the top of here. Now, the end of the spray does stick out. You can push it in, so it's a little less prominent, but it does have a tendency to stick out, and in some cases, depending on where you're attaching it, that could make it a little difficult to get everything sitting flat. So I actually haven't tried it on a heart before, so we shall find out in just a second how that works. Seems to be reasonably okay. Cut off the bits of 260 that you don't need. Yeah, a little bit wobbly. I was prepared for that. So what I'm going to do is to just add a couple of extra little bubbles with your 5-inch reflex gold, and I'm going to take them really small. Now I could twist this, inflate one and twist it in half, but I need there to be a little bit more space between the two balloons. So I'm going to actually use two individually inflated. Squeeze the air right up into the top so that the true shine of the reflex shows. And then I'm going to tie them together, not too tight but not too loose, so there's a little bit of a stretch between them, and I'm just going to put those under there, one to the front and one to the back, so that will cover the gap and support the apple twist on the top. Bit funky, bit different, bit unusual. It's nice to have something, as I say, that will cause people to sort of look at it twice. So there's one really simple for Valentine's Day, but I do have a couple of other examples that I've pre-prepared. There's another Valentine's one here on a considerably larger scale, where I've just used this champagne bottle balloon and I've attached our new technique to the top of it like that, so that we've got the champagne pop kind of effect. And here we're using Sempertex Fashion Imperial Red with Reflex Crystal Red, and then some touches of Reflex Truffle and Reflex Gold, just to pick up on the browns and blacks and reds of the design. And I really like that one actually. I think it looks really quite impressive. And then down here I've got one for a birthday. So this time I've used a star, and I've attached 2 of these onto 2 of the points, and one down here onto a sort of an organic style base. That works really well for a birthday celebration, I think. And then the final one, I'm using almost like a mini marquee or stacker, which I've done in Reflex Silver and Reflex Champagne with the small numbers, and Champagne starbursts on here, just as a mini stacker. But this one, 25th birthday or 25th wedding anniversary, you can use these little things. I have no idea what to call them, but whatever they are, you can use them for every kind of celebration that you can think of, and I think they work really well.